When one hears the word goblin, it may conjure up an image of a mischievous imp-like creature with a penchant for trickery, a name evoked to keep small children in their beds at night. But what if I was to tell you there is another sort of goblin, one with a mouthful of sharp teeth and the dead black eyes of a shark? That they were once human like you or I, but twisted into their terrible forms by fell magic, then sent with unwavering obedience to punish and devour those they once loved.
The Knights of the Shed Actual Play Podcast presents Zweihander, Feast of Goblins.
You find yourself looking at what appears to be a fortified medieval city. You've approached from the west of it, looking east, and what you notice is that there are watchtowers and a tall fortified stone wall. Perhaps you can make out a catapult or ballistae upon them. There's a river that runs to the north of the city, which is spanned by an enclosed bridge that crosses over into the city, and again a sizable road that leads to the north from that bridge. To the east of the city there are steep cliffs, and the walls seem to be built into that, and there's a sort of like a bailey type keep in the centre of this fortified town, sort of raised up.
Is there any sort of farming outside of the wall, or?
Yeah, to the south there are what appear to be rich fields. Where it hasn't been planted, but just ploughed, the earth looks dark, which is usually a sign of fertility in the land. From where you are, apart from that main bridge gate, across the river, you can see a small gate on the western side of the city.
I guess we head towards the gate.
Are there any signs of life?
Oh yeah, the sounds of a
Thriving city.
thriving medieval city can be heard.
But can we see anyone? Any people, humans?
Yeah, you can see travellers
Yeah.
when they come down from the North Road with wagons and things. They're stopped, then they disappear into the tunnel and seem to emerge on the other side sometime later.
Okay.
You see guards, what you assume to be guards in pacing the walls, patrolling the walls. Others in watchtowers. Hear the ringing of metal from most presumably a blacksmith, the grind of a mill. Occasionally a shout, chitter-chatter, bark of a dog.
Does this place look familiar to any of us?
This is not a city that you've come across before.
There's no signage or anything?
Any banners or flags?
Any milestones marking the roads?
Well, you'd have to get closer to look at those milestones. And in terms of banners, there is a flag flying from a mast from one of the towers. And it is a black field with a yellow lute.
Can I do a folklore check? My old nanny used to tell me all sorts of stories, and I listened to every one of them.
Go ahead. Just standard.
That's a success.
All right, you can ask me 2 questions about this flag.
Who are the people, or what's the flag of? Is it a house? What do I know about it?
Well, looking around the city, you spy some more, and you believe it is for as far as you know, it is the heraldic device of this city. It's a lute, and a black field provides a nice contrast with the yellow.
Are you telling him that it's a flag?
Perhaps something a bit more specific. You'd imagine these people have perhaps some sort of connection to music.
Yeah, I was just hoping that maybe, I'd heard of this banner and, I'd know the name of the town or
No, it's
something about them, but obviously not. No,
you've not come across it.
Yep. No, I have no further questions, Your Honour. Anybody else recognise that flag? I don't.
Maybe I've heard a rumour of of it somewhere in my line of work.
Well, let's see if you have.
I have not.
Rafe's would be pretty familiar with most of the local towns, at least by reputation. I'm not sure what kind of role that would be, but
You've not seen this town before in your travels. nor heard of a banner with a golden lute. It's a rather simple-looking flag from perhaps an older era. The crests and devices from the time you're from, they would be a little bit more intricate.
It's not ringing any bells.
Well, we could just go down and ask them who they are and see if they're friendly. They look like normal, friendly folk.
You say that now.
Their manner of dress, these people, do they look old-fashioned?
You're going to have to get in a bit closer.
Okay.
Shall we go closer then?
The one thing you do notice about the flags is most flags in Christendom would have certain colours of the saints, and a black flag is sort of more akin to another culture. A black would perhaps even signify the devil.
Does anyone want to try and sneak a bit closer and see if it have a scout around?
I think we should just approach it. I think we would look more suspicious if we were sneaking around someone's town and we're strangers and they found us there. I think it might be better to be a bit more direct.
Okay, let's go.
Which part of the city do you want to approach? The main bridge with the major road going into the city?
I think we just head in the way we were going. You're heading east in towards the city. There was a west gate, wasn't there?
Yeah, you have to cross the river to get
Okay.
get to
I assume we go that way.
So there's a north gate and a west gate. To go to the northern gate, it's just a matter of walking east. To go to the west gate, you're going to have to go south across the river and then east.
So the north gate would be easier, quicker.
Yeah.
Let's
I'll
go that
take
way.
that one then, yeah.
All right. Your trail eventually joins the road that runs north and south, and you make your way to the gates. As you approach the northern gate, you can see several round guard towers from your location. Two of them are set up upon the rugged cliffs that flank the canyon carved into the river. The only access to these appears to be way of a narrow and dangerous path. A third tower stands on the bank on the other side of the river, casting its watchful gaze out across that vital waterway. All three towers are of similar design and they stand about 30 feet tall. They have a single wooden door set into their base, and the base of each tower slopes smoothly up for 20 feet with no opening at all, save for the door. The upper portion of the towers are dotted with arrow slits and peepholes along its length, and there are parapets that ring the top of the tower, making it a bit difficult to see what's lurking up there. Though from time to time a face appears briefly in the peepholes or at the arrow slits, and the ambient light catches a gleam of metal or glint off an eye, but it's impossible to tell if those inside are human or something else.
Well, human, I reckon.
What else would they be?
Yeah.
Nothing to doubt their humanity.
No.
No,
It's quite prejudiced of you, Paul, really. frankly.
The bridge itself is of unusual construction that leads into the city. It's set in the middle of the river, and at first glance it appears to be nothing more than a solid square tower of moss-covered stone set upon a somewhat larger rock base. The top of the tower is decorated with ornate carvings of gargoyles and monsters, many of them so lifelike that it seems that they have but to wait for the sunset to spring to life and terrorize the countryside. A closer look, however, shows that there is a tunnel running through the centre of the tower that would easily accommodate the largest of wagons. And further, a pair of worn but sturdy wooden bridges run from both sides of the river to the entrance to this tunnel. At several points along the length, ring pins have been set into the bridges. Well-oiled chains stretch from these points to vanish into the mouth of the gargoyles atop of the tower. And as you watch, a number of persons walk across the bridge, enter the tunnel, and exit from the far side. They seem to be delayed for some time, perhaps a minute, within the dark tunnel before they enter, but there's no sign of what actually happens within. A secondary tunnel runs through the rock base, but its purpose cannot be readily guessed, as only about 2 foot of its height is above the waterline. Now, you mentioned, you asked how are these people garbed, and they seem to be quite well dressed. Generally, the travellers, and of a fashion of around your times, which is somewhat off kilter from the heraldic device that you saw, which seemed more primitive.
On an out of character note, I'm really worried about this description of the gargoyles, because I've never seen a gargoyle in a building and thought, shit, that looks like they might come to life at night.
Yeah, true. Maybe, the module's telling you what you think. Sorry.
Well, that's all right. I'm not so worried that I'm told what I think. I'm just worried about what I've been told, I think.
Well,
reading
Is there anything
too
to
far
stop
into
us crossing the bridge?
no, you can wander straight onto it.
Giddy up.
it. Yeah.
I'm
we
assuming
going
there's
to
some sort of guard station inside the bridge that they're
I guess that's what's slowing people down.
slowing people down.
You have to scan your ticket or something.
Got to use your green card, my key.
For our listeners who aren't in Hobart or Melbourne, if you want to understand that joke.
I was going to make a joke about Northgate before, but
Probably fall flat.
One guy in Hobart listening just thinking, nailed it, Brent.
We get our only review. From inside the tunnel, you hear the faint lines of a verse or a song, someone singing, and then it abruptly ends.
Is the song familiar at all? Even just the tune?
The language.
It's really hard because you're not close enough. You don't catch any words.
But we still don't recognise it, obviously. I guess we bite the bullet and go in.
All right, you
Let's
wander through the bridge. Who's going to be in the lead?
I will.
All right, the large husky nun.
Husky nun.
In brigandine armour.
Two guardsmen put out their pole arms in a cross fashion to hold you, and another more senior, what can only be a more senior officer, steps forward. And when he speaks to you, it's in another language.
Ah, good day, sir.
Surya Flol Sittle.
Hi, me, Maja. You?
Maja. He gestures around himself and back. Harmonia.
Harmonia.
Yeah.
Pass? Go through?
Okay, you're gesturing, trying to communicate. Could we have a little bit of a roll there to see how well you can convey your intentions
What
through
skill am I
non-verbal
using?
communication?
What skill would you like me to use, Paul?
There is a skill for this.
Education or?
Something like
scrutinize.
Oh, okay. He does not understand a single thing I am saying.
You start gesturing and Stardust, Ingenstrand, Raphe, and he starts pulls out a coin from his pouch.
Is it, what color is it? Is it like, what metal can I see?
It's
Is it copper? Is it silver? Is it gold?
it's somewhere in between silver and gold.
I'll pull out. I've got the gold from that guy I killed from his belt pouch. I'll pull a piece and gesture at my companions and then hand him the gold piece.
It takes you all in. Narasten Losson Semblen Tillundan.
So while this is going on, can Raphe just kind of watch the interaction? Because Rafe's pretty familiar with petty bureaucrats and that sort of thing. People trying to stop you getting into towns. And just see if he notices, is this guy trying to be helpful or is he sort of suspiciously helpful and I think maybe he's plotting something, or is he aggressive? Or
Make an easy scrutinize.
That's a 99, Paul.
We're going well. We're a great team.
Well, he seems fairly sincere. He starts singing. Oh, harmony, oh, harmony. And then there's other words. And he gestures to you as if more coin.
I think you're paying him for a song.
I pull out a silver piece and hand it to him.
He sort of picks it up and looks to the other guys, and they kind of give a chuckle and pops that into his belt pouch. Neben.
No more. Out.
Neben.
Just give him a gold piece so we can get through.
I give him another gold piece then.
He puts up 10 fingers, and one of them goes down. Oh, harmony, oh, harmony.
We don't have that much.
I've got some copper.
Iltru dana granda.
Raphe tries to sing a harmony along with him when he sings.
Would that help?
Just the tune, but not the words, obviously.
When you start singing, he points and gives you a thumbs up, and you sort of learn this first line of oh, harmony, oh, harmony. And then there's some other words that come along with it that you've not quite heard before. But there are a few more oh harmonies and oh harmonies.
I start singing then.
Yeah, I'll join
But
you.
he's still holding up. And then he just stops. And he won't sing anymore. He sort of gestures, flicking his fingers down. Oh harmony. Oh harmony.
I can't quite remember how many gold pieces I got from that dog guy. I think it was only about 10 all up.
Well, if you didn't write it down, you haven't got any.
I took his belt pouch. I didn't actually look in it. I know it was gold coins in there though.
All right. Because in order to, I guess, simulate a little bit the language barrier, I'm going to let you all start with a 10% base chance to understand the language. So you can pop that on your character sheet somewhere. So as you watch this interaction, there is everyone roll a D percentile, and if you roll 10 or below, then I'll give you a clue. But you're all very new to the language. There are some similarities to your own.
It's a negatory for me, I'm afraid.
Nope.
No.
Sounds like you're going to need a little bit more exposure.
I will pull out 9 more gold coins, but I beckon at the silver coin that I want it back. I hold up the 9 and point at the silver.
He gives you a grin and says something very friendly to you in a friendly tone, but gestures towards the gold, and he proceeds to sing, and
I sing along with him this time.
yeah, and he becomes very enthused that you're, and he'll stop singing along, and he'll stop, and he'll try and correct a word you're saying, and then he looks at the rest of you and kind of encourages you all to also to be singing.
Yeah, sure, I'll join
Oh, harmony.
you.
Oh harmony, oh harmony.
Okay. Well, I'll give him the 9 gold coins.
Okay, he proceeds to instruct you. He's got a reasonable singing voice.
So, did I just pay for singing lessons?
Yeah, that's what this is.
So let's go for let's try to look for a skill in terms of learning a song.
To be something intelligence, wouldn't it? Or perception. Eavesdrop.
Probably perception, being able to hit the notes and
Yeah, it'd be awareness or scrutinize.
Got an 11 on that roll that you didn't ask for.
I got a 1 on that roll.
1.
Not quite good enough.
I succeed.
No, Ilse failed.
Well, it sounded like half of you were able to learn the song. No, 2 of you. Is that right?
Yes, 2, but Maja did learn it really well, apparently.
Oh, did she?
He rolled 1.
Natural 1.
0-1.
0-1.
Critical success. And Helmut, you
I got
also
it pretty well as
you did
well.
well.
Come on, I rolled an 11 here.
you
Well,
got
it's a
critical
crit.
success
Okay.
too.
Oh, that's good, yes,
That's
yes.
3 of us then.
Yeah, 3 of you, with 2 critical successes and no critical failures. The guardsman gives you the thumbs up and he waves you past.
As we go past, can I sort of watch and see if he does the same thing with everyone else who comes by?
Yeah, he stops other travellers, and I mean, you're gonna have to hang around the tunnel for a while to sort of see the wayfarers and so on. Like if they look peasantish, then you see a small amount of money.
Oh,
If they
so
look-
because I was wearing brigandine armor, I got charged a lot.
I think you just gave it to him, didn't you?
Some of those people stop and they sing the song, which you can only assume is the city song or the city anthem. Others, particularly if they're merchants, kind of well dressed, and they don't know the song, yeah, it's still quite a lot of money for him to teach them. So for those of you who made that successful singing, you can get a 5% chance if you passed, added to that base percentage, and if it was a critical, then you can have a plus 10%. In time, you learn what the song was and the words to it, and it's oh harmony, a city grand and truly free. Oh harmony, 'tis thee I always long to see. To harmony, I pledge eternal loyalty. But at the time, no, it was just words that you didn't fully comprehend. And so you're through the tunnel into the town proper. The main road leads sort of southeast-ish, but it comes to a crossroads shortly in, which then proceeds, so you can go north, southwest, southeast. There's a structure in the middle, the really high one, and there's cliffs to the east, and there's lots of buildings. It's a lot like Noose, really.
Do you think maybe we should see what the big structure is first?
Find somewhere to stay first, I reckon.
Do we even have enough funds to stay here? If it was 10 gold to get in the gate.
I think he saw us coming. It's been a long time since you've handled money, isn't it?
Oh, about 30
I
years.
don't know why we let you have it.
Toby's just really sour that he's lost his loot.
Actually, none of you actually knew. Probably Joan was the only person who actually knew I had that gold because she was there when I stripped that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you wander the streets. It's generally well organised. People wear bright bright colours, they're often well dressed. Even the peasants seem, quite well off in terms of their general healthy appearance, and it does seem like quite a nice little town. And you eventually find an inn, and again, there's this language barrier with the tavern owner who would like to try and negotiate with him.
Oh, I'll give it a go.
So the first thing is, let's go for a base language test.
It's a fail.
So that's going to make bargaining for your stay a little bit more difficult. Is there anything in addition that you want to do to kind of work out the rates of stay?
I think maybe just bargain. Rafe's trained in bargaining and is presumably pretty experienced in doing that sort of thing, even where there might be a bit of a language barrier.
Whilst you're talking to him, you can make a scrutinised test, and that would give you an extra 10% to your language
Can I aid him?
understanding.
No, scrutinised does not help.
Okay. Well, let's go for a bargain check. Let's make it a little bit hard because of the language barrier. Let's make it challenging.
It's a success.
Well, you appear to come to an agreement. Now, what sort of lodgings were you wanting?
I think Rafe is just going for something pretty cheap because, as far as he knows, we don't really have anything much to pay with.
And you'll need stabling for
Yes.
Clotilde. So a night in the common room will be 1 silver piece
For everyone or each?
each.
Do we have that kind of money?
A night above the stables is 6 bronze pennies. So these are sort of things you work out. It takes a little while to negotiate. Stable horse by the night with feed is 8 brass pennies.
I hand him a gold coin.
The innkeeper,
I gesture at all of us and hand him a gold coin.
That's way too much.
That's enough for 2 nights. Well, for knows it's enough for 5 nights. 4 nights. 4 nights.
he takes the gold coin and he said, 5 of you plus the horse. He puts his hand out with a little man's blade and points out back to the stable and gives you the thumbs up. He also gestures to putting his hand to his mouth in an eating motion and puts his cheek on the side of his hand, probably gesturing sleep. And this is where the limits of audio podcasts make it hard when trying to describe all these non-verbal gestures that I'm demonstrating.
So that pays for the sleeping quarters. It doesn't pay for the food, does it?
Rafe is happy to sleep above the stables.
I suppose that keeps you closer to Clotilde, and we don't really have anything valuable to steal, do we?
He claps his hands and points to the table and pulls out a chair for you all.
Sit down then.
Yeah, sit down.
And then he brings out a jug of ale, some fresh bread, cheese.
I won't drink the ale.
And the boy probably shouldn't either.
Oh, if anyone's going to stop
He's a
me,
man
I will
now.
otherwise.
He's a man. He's earned it.
Look, as far
I've
Rafe
killed
can't-
people. Okay.
Rafe doesn't really know how old young people are, so you might as well be 8 to him.
Everyone who's younger than me is a boy or a girl.
He grabs a young boy and
We didn't
Speaks
order
to-
one of those.
speaks to him.
I'm going to listen intently as they speak to each other to see if I can pick anything up.
He kind of commands the kid, and he points at Rafe's horse and mutters something else, and then the kid kind of complains and then gets a kick in the pants and runs outside and unhitches Clotilde, which you can only guess he's either taking it to the butcher's or round back to the stables.
Rafe is actually going to go out and check what's going on.
The boy begins brushing her down and stabling her.
All right.
Before too long, there's other viands and victuals placed upon the table before you, and the innkeeper stands there smiling.
Well, it'd be rude not to eat, so
I hand
Expectantly.
him a brass penny.
He takes it, pops it in his pocket.
It's into mine.
What's the food? Is it regular fare?
Yeah, regular but of good quality. And then out come roasted beets and potatoes and other morsels.
Can I, because this is my tradecraft and stuff, can I pop into the kitchen and have a look?
Oh, yeah, sure.
are you looking to poison anything? I've got some poison.
No, I'm just having a look.
It seems to be a clean establishment
Yeah.
for the 1600s.
Yeah. Is there a cook around and some
Yes.
scully maids and whatnot?
Yeah. What could possibly be the innkeeper's wife, for she seems to command the kitchen quite well. Covered in an apron, covered in flour, and bossing around some kitchen scullions.
I'm gonna go and poke my nose in a few of the pots and stuff and give it a criticising.
Give it a review.
But yeah, just smack a scully maid. Yeah, taste the food and
Yeah, the Fraulein comes over with a big ladle and offers for you to taste her soup, a very decent bacon bone soup.
mm.
She then also shows you various types of gnocchi and ravioli that's also being prepared, and sauerkraut. You see some lovely strings of bratwurst.
Excellent.
It seems like quite a good establishment.
Can I pick up on some of the language that they're talking?
Yeah, make a scrutinize check as the Fraulein refers to the various ingredients and you work out the equivalents.
That's a success.
Yeah, you can add an extra 5% to your base language understanding. Meanwhile, back in the common room, you find the food hearty, satisfying, the ale refreshing, and what more is there to do on a late afternoon?
There are others in the common room eating.
Yes.
See if I can eavesdrop a bit and see if I can pick up any more of the language.
While he's doing that, I'm going to gesture the innkeeper over and just gesture to try and mimic washing myself.
He So how much is a bath? He holds up 4 brass pennies.
I would love a bath.
Man, I hand him 8 brass pennies so me and Joan can go have a bath.
He sends the boy off out the back to heat some water with a clip around the ear, and you tune in to the local.
I do so, yeah, if
gossip.
I can.
Okay, make a roll. Scrutinize.
6.
You sort of learn just by watching chaps talking and so on. You know, they might say, "Pass me the pretzels," and so on, and you're sort of starting to learn some of the language. So you can have another 5% against your base total as well.
Raphe tries to indicate to the innkeeper that whether he has any books he could borrow and read.
Book. He does have a book. And presents it to you. It even has illustration.
Oh.
And so the gist of this story is that there were 3 little pigs and what appears to be a ferocious-looking wolf. And the wolf is seen stalking these 3 little pigs, but then they become aware of it. And the wolf is so very casually pursuing them. And so the first little pig goes and makes a house of straw. And so it goes, and a house made of wood, and the big bad wolf happens to foil their houses until the little piggy's got a town made of stone. And this is where the traditional story kind of departs from probably what you know, because the wolf ends up completely slaughtering and gutting the pigs.
Well, that's awful, but do I learn anything about the language?
Yeah, let's make I'm thinking an education type role to pick out familiar words and patterns, unless you can think of some other sort of skill that you could employ.
Well, it's probably education, but I'm not trained in it, which is something of a problem. Would folklore help?
I think folklore is more of the oral tradition.
Yeah,
perhaps.
it would mean if I knew the story, maybe it would help. But anyway.
Yeah, okay. We'll go folklore with somewhat more of a penalty. Let's make it challenging.
Critical success.
Well, you definitely pick out key words that have been repeated, and from it you're able to decipher the phoneme-grapheme relationships. That sounds a bit techo, doesn't it?
What does that mean in terms of percentage?
You want the bottom dollar? 5% increase in your base.
Is it 10 because I got a critical success?
Give him 7.
Yeah, I'll pay that. Does anyone else wish to do anything while they're relaxing in the tavern? Maja and Joan have their bath, feeling sparkly clean.
Is it the same sort of water that we camped near?
The water seems to make the soap suds a lot easier than what you're used to.
Do they have big enough baths for these two?
I am quite rotund.
Yeah, they do have the capacity to accommodate these ladies.
For the listeners, Toby just flipped me off.
The baths themselves are really well made, good quality iron. That's one thing about this place is that everything is carved or made really well. They're not sort of cheap knockoffs.
So what's the time at this point?
It's coming into mid-evening.
Perhaps we could go for a nice evening stroll, have a look about.
Well, it's basically we've just had our dinner, haven't we?
Yeah.
And I think we call it for the night and rest.
Yeah, Joan is gonna.
Does anyone else want to come for a look around?
I'll go for a walk.
Yeah.
Us old ladies are going to relax and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Rafe will ask the innkeeper try and communicate and find out whether or not there's any kind of hospital or anything like that, whether we can get some bandages or because at least I'm still somewhat injured.
Make a base language roll.
Nope.
All right, you sort of have to resort to maybe showing your wounds, and through gesturing it takes a little while. It's really hard to understand how you're going to procure those things. He kind of points out onto the street, and it's like he's saying, go left here and go right there,
Yeah.
and then you'll come to a fountain, and it's...
Maybe ask him for one of the kids to guide you.
I don't know if he'll understand that if I can't understand the rest of it. Unless I'm asking him for 3 little pigs to guide me.
he snaps into an idea, and he sort of points at the boy, and then he does the universal motion for money.
I don't know how much money I have. I haven't got it written down, so since I can't tell you what it is, I guess I give him a brass penny or something.
He motions more.
All right, Rafe gives him a second one, but motions like that's it. That's all that's worth.
He starts talking at you.
Dude, a bath's worth 4.
Well, he charges 4 for a bath.
Yeah.
Whether a bath is worth 4.
But-
Well, then no. Rafe just waves him off and says, "Give him the money back."
He doesn't seem... He gives it back to you. He doesn't mind. Back from where you were, a bandage by the strip is 1 silver shilling, usually each. So some of you are going to bed, and some of you are perhaps up for a stroll around town after dinner. by the
Yeah,
sounds of it.
sure. This place looks safe enough.
I've seen city guards walking along the battlements. I'm sure it's going to be safe enough.
Of course it will. Everything here is lovely.
Well, you go for a stroll around town. Rafe, Ilse,
Ilse.
and
Ilse,
Helmut.
yeah.
So, well, as you sort of wander towards the east, it seems to be a lot of people congregated there, and you can hear the sounds of singing. Wandering along further, you go along some well-to-do houses and manors, and eventually it leads to an open courtyard or area with a fountain in the middle and an amphitheatre. And there are lots of people milling about, and these elegantly dressed minstrels pitching and singing songs to the crowd. Beautiful music, beautiful singing. Some musicians also accompany them, and there's a very light and festive atmosphere.
Well, I'm pretty impressed with that. I'm going to stay and watch for a while.
Yeah, I don't understand what anyone's saying, but this sure is fun.
Ah,
It rests just off the road and is surrounded by a grassy park where all the people are sitting around. The large fountain portrays a bearded man playing upon a lute and singing. At his feet are 2 huge, apparently napping dogs. He looks most handsome, yet the sculptor carved him in such a manner as to convey a feeling of power and mystery.
must be some sort of leader.
Their flags have loot on it, don't they?
Yeah, and it's called Harmony. They seem to like music a lot.
Yeah, don't they?
Hmm.
You also notice some people near the amphitheatre. Appears to be they're going into a cave at the base of it. And there seems to be a lot of luminescence coming from that cave.
Got to check that out.
They've also got a thing about tunnels and caves, don't they?
So just from where your vantage point, you look into this cave, and the ceiling of it is lined with white crystals, occasionally dotted with a ruby or an emerald. The air coming out is very fragrant of exotic smokes and other fine smells of food and wine and so on.
Should we go check it out, Ilse?
Yes.
There seems to be some, for want of a bit of a term, some sort of club. There are very smartly going about serving people, and there is a bouncer at the door. Everything within looks very clean and meticulously arrayed with style.
Don't think we're going to be getting past this bouncer, but I suppose I'll give it a shot.
He smiles at you and pats you on the head. Sort of points to a bowl with money in it,
What sort of money is in it?
gold coins.
No, I'm not even going to insult him. Just smile and
Just nod and walk away, I think.
wander off, yeah. Wasting my time trying to get in there, I think.
There are a lot of really well-dressed, attractive people in this club.
So it's not a place for me.
Just to be clear, are they well-dressed, attractive adults?
Yes,
Well, that might be a separate issue.
this certainly looks to be the top end of town.
Yeah, okay. Depart.
And how long do you want to take in the song and entertainment of this area? Or do you just want to keep on exploring?
Well, I might just listen to a bit of music and then head back to my room. That'll be it for my night. I don't know if you two are going to accompany me.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
How about you, Rafe?
Oh, I think Rafe will just head back. He's not very interested in the entertainment.
Oh, it's nice.
Leave you two to enjoy it.
Okay, back to the tavern.
Well, you make it in. It's been a bit of a long day and some fatiguing last few days. To the inn and to bed with you, is it?
I think so.
Yeah, before I go, I ask Ilse if she's got any of those anti-mosquito herbs still.
Sure. Yes.
All right, Rafe will take a handful and stick it in his pocket, just if he's going to be in the barn. He'll be a bit exposed, probably.
Got some animal bane and wolf's bane too, if you need that at any time. And also some anti-venom too. So let me know if you need anything else.
I'll keep it in mind.
Before we head to sleep, I'm going to pop back over to the kitchen and find the cook and show her my wounds and the sword bandages and pop a silver coin into her hand to see what she can do about it.
She kicks one of the dishwashers in the pants and barks something at her, and she runs out the door. The boss of the kitchen, makes you a cup of tea and just prattles on about the day's work. You've seen these expressions 1,000 times from cooks from every country that you've been to, and you can kind of guess the sort of things, the bemoaning this and that, and the perils of being a good woman and and so on. And in some time after you have your cup of tea, the scullion returns and there's a bandage for you.
I thank her. In all the time she was talking, do I comprehend any of her language?
Well, yeah, you feel like you're a little bit more confident, but maybe you need to sleep on it to let things settle in your mind.
Right, I'm going to use that bandage on her before we go to bed.
Okay. Now, with bandaging, you can only
Use it every 24 hours, you said? Yeah, it's been 24 hours since...
you used bandages this morning.
Oh, was it this morning, was it? Okay, we'll go to sleep.
Well, the night passes without incident. You have a reasonable rest. The room is comfortable.
Thank God for that.
Gargoyles didn't spring to life then.
In the morning you assemble, and there's a array of breakfast items like bacon and fried bread and chips, beans, beets, a lot of beet and cabbage type foods. You can re-bandage the wounds if you make a roll.
I succeed.
All right, you may advance up the damage track. Remove your bandage from your inventory.
Didn't even add it. I think we're all just lightly wounded now, so...
Moderately wounded.
Forgot you were
still.
grievously wounded. So, what are we going to do now?
I don't know. I suppose we just explore town for the time being.
The small boy sort of starts moving your accoutrements out of the room and lining them up against the wall near the entrance.
We paid for 4 days.
And he starts cleaning your cleaning your shoes and your bags and
Do you think we should find who's in charge of this town? Maybe they can tell us where we are if we're not in heaven.
Well, we can barely speak to them, and I don't know why they'd want to speak to us.
Well, okay.
Why are we listening to a child?
Well, I don't hear you coming up with anything, you old bat.
Well, Helmut, remember the rolling pin.
I'm not afraid of her.
Brandish it at him.
At seeing the interaction, the innkeeper approaches Helmut and sort of stands next to him with his hand in his pocket. Not your pocket, his own pocket.
I gesture to the innkeeper to give him a clip around the ears.
The innkeeper tenses and waits for Helmut's next words.
A little bit of keep my mouth shut then, I suppose.
As the the people go about speaking, you seem to understand more of what they're saying. It seems that sleep has consolidated what you learnt from the day before, so everyone can get a plus 10% to their base in terms of understanding what's going on during conversation.
Can I look at the gentleman and say, honey?
Initially, he gives you a quizzical look and then looks to his wife, but then the buzzing noise, and he looks at Raphe and starts speaking to you both. Make a language roll.
That is a 9. Sorry, an 8.
I pass as well.
He seems to pick up on the conversation from last night around bandages and where to go, and he provides some more concrete instructions from where a local stall is, which sells honey, and also an apothecary.
I guess I want to make some bandages.
You want to make some?
Yeah. I'll buy some cloth and honey.
Okay, so that's on the shopping list for
Yep.
today. Yeah. Does anyone else have any shopping items?
Not that I'm buying with 9 copper or whatever they are.
You could spend it
Brass.
all on lollies.
I could. You know what? Fair enough. If I see any confectionery stores around, I'll bugger it.
So just to get it out of the way, as you move along, you have let's see if there's any opportunity for candy sweets. It's not your lucky day yet.
My action declaration will be, I go looking for goblins.
So you locate the honey seller. Honey is 1 silver shilling.
You can use the one honey to make 3 bandages, right?
There's 9 doses of honey
Oh, okay. So
in
I
a
can,
pot.
okay, so I can make 9
And
bandages.
Then you need the bandage itself, so that's 1 brass penny per strip of cloth, and so it goes. A sewing kit's 2 brass pennies. Fire hardened spear is 7 silver coins.
I'll buy one of those. And I'm going to buy lots and lots of bandages.
You want to buy pre-made bandages?
No, I will make them. As a healer, I can do that.
Okay, yeah, I think you can do in batches of 3, but
Yep.
the difficulty to make them increases. So if you say I'm going to make 1 in 1 batch, then
I'll make a batch of 3. It doesn't increase the difficulty, does it, though?
yeah, it does. Whereas if you just make 1 bandage, it's a lot easier.
Oh, we obviously need bandages.
I'm not in heaven.
We're not in heaven. Helmut, shut up.
I didn't say
Helmut,
anything. I've been
shut up.
told to shut up, so I'm
Good.
keeping quiet.
Good.
Good.
Don't know why. I did an awful lot of the work back in Noose.
Trying to get kicked again, Helmut?
Where were you in the battle? Oh, that's
Me.
right. You ran away.
He ran away.
And you ran away.
No, I found a
well,
boat.
Well, me and Joan killed 3 soldiers.
I didn't kill
Who
any.
drove the carriage? Who was that, eh?
They weren't on the carriage.
Yeah, we're on the...
Well, I saved all those other people that disappeared.
Good job. That's very worthwhile.
Oh, shut up.
Didn't save anyone.
I get Ilse, I guess.
I'm sick of these people. Just go on my own. I'm
Good
a
riddance
dog.
to bad rubbish.
Oh,
Okay, to make bandages, to make 1 strip is a routine heal test, which is plus 10 to your heal skill. If you want to make 3 at a time, it's challenging, which is a minus 10. If you critically succeed, you get an extra bandage, and if you fail, then it's wasted.
Do I get extra bandages if I just do a normal single one and critical succeed? So if I just do 1 and critically succeed, I get 2?
Yeah.
How long does it take to make bandages? Does it say?
9 days.
It doesn't say how long it takes.
I mean, it wouldn't take long. You're basically just dipping a bit of cloth in honey.
Yeah, but how are you going to store it?
Yeah.
Carefully.
That's what you say as someone who's not trained in the healing skill.
I am trained in the healing skill.
Not you personally.
Shut up.
The human being.
It takes 10 minutes.
Okay. Do we want to set some time aside to make some bandages, guys?
Sure.
Well, we don't all have to be making bandages with you. You can
Okay.
you can go ahead with that while we do whatever.
I might do it tonight when we're resting at the inn.
Okay, good.
How much do I end up spending, Paul? It's spear, cloth, and bandages. Oh, the honey.
9 silver shillings all up, including the spear, and they'll chuck in the sewing kit for 2 bronze pennies.
All right, I'll buy that as well.
Okay.
They've got some honey lollies here.
sure. I'll go a honey lolly.
Who's paying for it, Helmut?
I'm paying for it. Shut
Good.
up. Helmut's getting sick of this lot.
It's all going according to plan.
Okay, you can spend as much or as little money you want on honey lollies.
All 9 brass pennies of honey lollies, please.